a very happy new year to you and to your loved ones. Hey listeners, okay, so it's a new year. Now what do we do? What should you do as a leader? And what do you need to think about and put in place for this brand new year? Let's discuss.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas.
Hey there listeners, welcome to the Ask Denis episode. This is a freestyle episode where I'm asked a question by our listeners or share my thoughts, experiences and insights from working with many leaders around the globe. Well, a massive happy new year to you. What an awesome time of year it is, and we trust that you've had a great festive season, Christmas time, and it's really now important that you start to think about the brand new year ahead as we move forward. Now, for a lot of people, what they tend to do around the new year is set these things called New Year resolutions. Well, by January the 2nd, they've already given up on some of those New Year resolutions. New Year resolutions are quite cool, but also do they really work? Not sure. For some people, yes, they go off and they actually turn those into goals. And that's the important part for us to talk about today and think about is putting goals in place. And so as we move forward, let's think about it, because really right now what we're doing is we're turning over the page. We're going to a brand new page, or if you think about a notebook, you get a brand new notebook and you turn over the cover and there's the fresh page right there in front of you. It smells good, it feels good, and it's all nice and brand new. But it is time for us to start thinking about starting fresh, resetting and getting underway. Because you know what? You really get another go. It's about you having another go. There is the New Zealand All Black captain who won a couple World Cup championships and things like that, a guy called Richie McCaw, and there's a film out there called Chasing Great. If you haven't seen it, go out and check it out, even if you don't follow rugby, but the messages in it are really quite cool. One thing he talks about is that at every single game, he will go back to his notebook and reset. He would think about this new game. The new year, the year that's in front of us is like a new game. It's a new, brand new sort of time, and it's for us to reset and get underway. I've got a prediction this year, and that is, I think that for you as leaders, you're going to be asked to lead change more than ever, to lead the organization forward, to lead yourself forward, to lead others forward as well. But it's going to take massive change for that to happen. And so for that to happen, you have got to be in the right headspace. You've got to be in the right physical body. You've got to be in the right space overall, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I think you need to start thinking about those areas in particular in what you're needing to do. Yes, your leadership skills and your capabilities and your experiences definitely need to be worked on as well. Now, before we move on, though, let's also start to think about the year that's just ended, the year that we've just left behind and said goodbye to, because you need to do some reflection on that year to think about, hey, what went well? What were your 3 biggest wins for the year? What could you have done better? In other words, what could you sort of tweak maybe, or, that was the wrong approach, we should have gone this other way. Then what will you now do differently going forward? So based on what went well? What were the lessons you've learned? Now what will you put in place to move forward, which is important? I think now is the time for you to strategize. In fact, it's time for you to think, strategize, and plan your year ahead. You need to take this time seriously, and you need to do this activity. Think, plan, and strategize are 3 important things for you to do to set your year up for success. Now, for a lot of people, they say to me, well, what should I think about, or what areas and so forth? Well, I would actually start to think about areas or categories in your life, things about your health and fitness. Another one could be around your family. Another one could be around career, business, those 2 different separate categories or one category. Your wealth, financially, right? Where you were going to go and what are you going to do? So that's just some areas. There are a lot more areas as well. Spiritual could be another one for you to think about too. And so these are different areas that you may want to think about. Now, I'm going to recommend that you go and buy, if you haven't already bought one or don't already have one, is go out and buy a sketchbook. Now, these are either, I'm going to say A5 size or legal pad size, or even A3 size, which is more like sort of double the A4 or double the legal pad size. And for you to sort of start to have a sketchbook, that's like where people do art. They do the chalk sketching, or they may do some painting on it, but it's all pen and pencil. But this is where it's really important for you to have blank pages, a bit like a blank canvas. And for you to then start thinking about how or what you're wanting to work on these different areas. Now, for all of you, you're different in the way that you think. For some of you, you may brainstorm by doing mind maps. Others, you might like doing drawings. Others, you may like using words or numbers or anything that's going to really help you to start thinking. Now, there's a few key things for you to think about as you're doing this. Number one is you're thinking about the year ahead. Now, you may want to think about the next 5 years and then bring it back to this year. That will be the stepping stone towards those 5 years, something for you to think about. The other thing is just brain dump. Just, in other words, just write or draw whatever you're wanting to do and get it onto paper. Imagine as big as you can. Think as big as you can. Thing here is, do not self-doubt or reason with yourself. Here's an example. I write something down and I go, oh, but you know what, I probably won't be able to do it, I won't have enough time and things like that, or I don't know how to get there, or I'm scared to do it. Hey, just write it down what you can on paper. How you're going to do it, don't worry about that right now. I think the important thing is just to get it down on paper and make sure. Here's another thing for you to think about, is keep working on it. So those sketchbooks tend to have several pages. Keep drawing, keep writing, keep mind mapping, keep doing more page after more page, refining and so forth. Put it under your bed, put it on your desk, put it somewhere away for a day, then go back to it the next day and then look at it with fresh eyes. Because the thing is that we start thinking about things, that's great. But as we go away, our brain keeps working on it. And then when we go to sleep, our brain is still working on it. When we wake up in the morning, go back to it, have a look at it again and revisit. Because what actually happens is that for us, we start to think about things a little bit differently or bigger. So there's some things for you to think about. Or here's another one, something you didn't think about. And it may come pop into your mind. And so get that onto a piece of paper as well. Once you've got that, then start to think about the different areas and start setting some goals. Now, as I've said in my previous episode, is that you need to make the goals exciting. Please don't make them boring because it ain't going to help you. You're not going to get out there and do what you need to do to make this goal happen. But if they're exciting goals and they are emotionally attached to you and you're going to get up and do whatever you need to do every single morning, every single day, then you're going to do it if it's emotionally attached. Now, the movie title, book title, they're the kind of things for you to think about in actually having goals ahead of you. And so start to think about it, play with it. There's no right or wrong way. Just do whatever's right for you in making that happen. The other thing I would like you to think about is what is your three biggest things that you want to do this year? The three big hitters, as I call it. What are those three big things that you might want to do this year? And the goals will sit underneath some of those things. Then once you've got all that in place, then I think it's time for you to start creating a plan and helping those goals come to life and what you might need to do. Now, you might want to document these somewhere, these goals, and then the action plans underneath them. And you might want to start thinking about it. You won't actually know all the details on how you're going to do it, because if you do, then it's not a goal. It's just a task if you already know how to do it. So some of your action plan would be for you to research, for you to think about things, for you to put some things in place, for you to get the right people around you. All these different things will need to start to happen as you do it. This is not just a 5-minute wonder, then you do it and then it's ta-da, it's done. No, this requires work, and this will actually help you stretch you in your thinking and stretching what you're doing to start putting things in place. Now, if you can document it somewhere, that'd be really great, even if it's in a spreadsheet or a Word document. For some people, they use different apps, things like Teamwork, or they might want to put it into Monday.com or anything like that. There's these different types of apps out there. Whatever works for you, keep it simple. But I want you to be able to go back and revisit it on a regular basis. Why? Because I want you to go back to help you stay focused on what you're working on. 2, what is your progress and how you're monitoring all that, right? And how you're going. Then there's another thing I'd like you to think about too, is that as you start to set these goals, how you're going to celebrate. This is really important. Psychologically, it's going to really help you do this, because if you don't reward yourself, then you're going to have, psychologically you're thinking about, well, I've got to go out and do these other things, and why? And what's in it for me? It's actually really amazing how the subconscious and the brain, all that stuff starts to work, right? It's the same as you and leaders in work. If you've got a team around you and you're not taking time out to celebrate and reward them in the sense of just recognition of a thank you or small morning tea or just a little gift card or something like that for people on the great work that they've done, yes, you pay them to do the job. I get that, but there are certain things you can do to celebrate. If you don't do that, next week you're going to have to ask them to do some things as well, which are pretty big, massive stuff, right? And so we need to keep rewarding and helping people all the time. So I'd like you to think about what is it that you're going to do to help celebrate your success and hitting those 3 big hitters or the goals that you have and what you're actually looking about wanting to achieve. Now, listeners, some of you or people that you know are really serious about making some big inroads this year. It's about you making some big shifts, about you going out there and reaching some goals, going to levels that you've never been before. Now, for you to do that, you're going to need to have a partner/coach beside you to help you. Now, the coach is going to be someone that's going to be there to listen to you, to be able to bounce ideas off, is a person who's going to help you with your thinking, with your strategy side, the whole lot, right? And so this is what I do. This is where I specialize in helping a lot of people like yourself actually wanting to go forward and moving forward, to be that leader who's going to lead the change going forward with yourself and others as well. So my offer to you is this, as part of the new year, is I'm going to offer you a free 30-minute strategy session to have a quick chat with me over Zoom. And we're going to chat about your goals, where you're wanting to go, what does it look like, and also think about where things are at today and what is it going to take for you to get there in the future. And so part of this whole strategy session is I have a booking link. Now, what I want you to do is I would like you to send me a private message on Messenger or on LinkedIn, or send me an email, Denis@leadingchangepartners.com, and then I will respond to you with a booking link. Now, the booking link is easy. It's through Calendly, and what you do is you go on, you click on the link, and it gives you the days that I'm available and you're available. It looks at your calendar, my calendar, and says, well, actually looks at my calendar and says, okay, these are the days that he's available, these are the times that are available in your time zone, and then you select the day and time. And then what happens is that it puts it into your calendar and my calendar and sends us the Zoom link. And then what it does then is that it actually sends out a message to us. And then we will actually get on a call. We'll spend 30 minutes having a chat, maybe having a coffee or tea, talking about things, saying hi, celebrating the new year, and let's start talking about where you are with things and where you're wanting to go. And as a result of that, then we can talk about how I can actually help you and actually bringing these goals that you've actually wanted to achieve to life. And so if that's you, feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to talking to you. It will be wonderful working with you this year. All right, listeners, that's it for this New Year episode. So Happy New Year to you. Make it a big one. It's always a pleasure being with you. Thanks for joining me on the Leadership is Changing podcast. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.